Hi guys, welcome back to episode 5 in my Chop to the Top series where I'm trading my way up from a £150 banger all the way to a supercar. So far I've traded my way up to this, a Nissan 350Z Turbo. In part 1 of this episode you saw me get the 350 on the ramp and check out the suspension system, clean the arches and discover some hidden extras we didn't know about such as a K&N air filter and HKS braided lines. You also saw me diagnose and fix the Tyne adjustable electronic dampening system. If you haven't seen part 1, I've included a link to this in the description, but for now, let's get on with the rest of this 350 turnaround. So, the first thing I'm going to deal with is the body damage on the 350. There are various marks, scratches and damage to 3 of the 4 corners of this car, and this is definitely something that needs to be sorted if I'm going to achieve the best possible price for this car come sale time. As with all of my vehicles, I'll be fixing the various issues this car has myself. The key is to keep overheads low so that we can maximise profits and keep on trading up. If you're new to my channel and you like how that sounds, you should consider subscribing. My plan here is to work my way around the car in stages. First, I'll flat and clean each damaged area before applying filler. After that, I'll continue to work my way around in the same fashion, sanding, priming, painting and so on. So, as you know, this 350Z has been turbocharged. This 3.5 litre V6 is running a single turbo setup and a front mount intercooler. However, at this stage, I don't know what the power output is. If you stick with this video all the way until the end, you'll see how the 350 gets on when it visits the rolling road. Drop a comment now with your prediction of the car's power and let's see who knows their Japanese turbos the best. I'm sure there'll be a few of you who are not familiar with my videos. You're watching this and thinking I'm crazy trying to attempt a blend-in repair like this using aerosol paint. But like I always say, let the repair speak for itself. I've done so many of these type of fixes that I'm totally confident it will look perfect. Of course, there are lots of stages to a fix like this, and during these Chop to the Top episodes, I don't go into the technical details of what I'm doing. However, if you're interested in that side of things, check out the other videos on my channel where I give breakdowns of the different repairs and how I tackle them. You know, I've always been a fan of the 350Z, but believe it or not, this is the first one I've actually owned. If you missed the first few episodes of this series, I started out with a £150 Toyota RAV4 and I've worked my way up from there. I'm a huge fan of this 350 and it's the sort of car I'd happily keep and use myself. But as the saying goes, the show must go on, so I'll be selling this awesome car as soon as possible in order to buy the next one in the journey. So I'm almost done with the bodywork repairs now. I haven't included any footage of the polishing stage here, but if you've seen me polish one repair, you've seen it 1,000 times. As I said before, let the repair speak for itself. Take a look and let me know what you think. So that's the bodywork repairs checked off the list. Now it's time to tackle the interior. This interior isn't particularly dirty, but you can tell it's never received too much love, so I'll give it a thorough clean to help it look and smell its best. This is the other important part of turning a car around ready for sale, making it look and feel new. You can spend a ton of time and effort on the outside of a vehicle, but if the interior is grubby and smells funky, any potential buyer will most likely be put off. As I said before, this 350 isn't particularly dirty inside, but it's a long way from clean. Going the extra mile removing the seats allows me to properly clean them and treat them, as well as shampoo the carpets and clean the plastics. All of these seemingly small jobs add up to help give the car a very strong impact on anyone who views it, and after all, we're looking for a sale here. After some work on the driver's seat, here is a before and after example of what can be achieved. The seat on the left looks clean, fresh and inviting, whereas the seat on the right looks dull and grubby. If I can emulate this kind of improvement across the rest of the car, I'll have done my job properly. Onto the floor mats. This is one area that I'm often guilty of spending way too much time on, but in my defence, these things pick up the majority of the dirt and grime that's brought into a car, so why not spend a little extra elbow grease getting them as fresh as possible. I haven't ever done a specific video on the techniques and steps I use to bring back tired old mats, but if that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. And with those freshly striped floor mats refitted, that's the main passenger compartment finished. In an effort to truly do a thorough job though, I can't stop here. The boot area also needs a thorough clean, and on top of that I'll be tackling something that is pretty much always overlooked on a convertible, the hood storage compartment. This is another area that can make a car smell funky, as it's often the resting place for the dirt, damp and leaves that come off of the soft top hood when it's folded away, but I'll get back to that once I've sorted the boot area. Now you'll see why I wanted to focus on the hood storage compartment. This area is very easy to overlook, but if you want a convertible to smell its best, this otherwise hidden area needs to be cleaned. So, it's out with the liner to be properly cleaned and wet vacked, and a general cleanup of the rest of the compartment ahead of refitting that liner. Now that the hood compartment has been cleaned, there are no areas left that may cause any dodgy smells. This may seem like a lot of effort to go to, but like I always say, if a buyer might look at it, you should clean it. I'm back to working on the exterior of the vehicle now. When I got the car, it had this dealer sticker on the paint. Normally, that would simply be a case of gently removing with some heat and a plastic scraper, but as you'll see, this sticker has been on the paint for a long time and has left some ghosting. This will require some slightly more in-depth work to correct, such as gentle wet flatting of the area, followed by a machine polish. You'll also probably notice the poor state of the registration plate here, but I'll come back to that. A fresh set of number plates can work wonders and really lift the exterior of a vehicle. These are stuck on with foam tape, especially the rear plate, which has more tape than I've ever seen used before, so I'll need to remove all of this properly before fitting the new plates. This again is something of a hidden detail, but one of those things that I always like to make right. After a fair amount of heat, scraping, a gentle wet sand and polish, the rear plate recess is as good as new. Onto the front. Now it's time to tackle the wheels. Once again, these aren't the worst I've seen, but they clearly haven't been as well treated as they could have been. I'll give them a thorough clean up and I'll polish the faces to make them look their best. I'll also use this opportunity to remove any old wheel weight adhesive. Here's another area that's easy to overlook, the exhaust tips. I won't be able to make these look brand new again, but I can definitely make them look a whole lot better than they currently are. Exhaust tips are one of those elements of a car that doesn't seem like a big deal, but having them look fresh makes a huge impact on the overall look of your vehicle, as I covered in my How to Sell Your Car video. One of the last major jobs that I need to tackle on this 350 is an overall paint correction. Don't get me wrong, the paint didn't look too bad at first glance, but this is largely because the car is silver. I didn't record a whole lot of footage of this stage, as you guys have seen me do this on pretty well every car that's come through the workshop, but it was essentially a case of giving each panel a going over with a clay bar, then a machine polish, followed by a hand polishing stage. This is one of those jobs where you don't see the benefit until the job is done. I know you guys are probably wondering what I paid for this car, and I did mention in part 1 of this episode that all will be revealed in part 2, so stay tuned and I'll give you the full breakdown of costs at the end of this video. With those fresh number plates fitted and a few finishing touches, the 350 is ready to go. Well, almost. Before I can advertise this one, I need to find out what kind of power we're getting from that turbocharged V6. So, next, it's off to the rolling road. Place your bets now. What kind of figure do you think this 350Z will put down? and the result was 340 brake horsepower. Don't get me wrong here, I was happy with that result, but I know she could have given more. This was done on a super hot day, and I'm ashamed to admit, running on supermarket fuel. Still, excuses aside, I'll advertise with the respectable figure of 340 brake horsepower, as that is what the readout shows. Not bad at all. So, let's get into the figures. As you know, I set out with a grand total of £4,890 to buy and restore a car in this episode. I mentioned in part 1 that I got lucky when I found a dealer with this 2006 350Z. He didn't altogether know what he had, apart from a 14-year-old Nissan with body damage, a non-functional suspension system and a Fausty smelling interior. That meant that I picked up this truly unbelievable turbocharged Japanese beauty for just £4,600. The main costs incurred in fixing this one up were bodywork related, but as I tackled these jobs in-house I only had to account for the material costs, which came to around £30. On top of this were cleaning materials and general consumables totalling £20. The rolling road test cost £75 and the new number plates were £12.99. This means that altogether this outstanding machine owes me just £4,737.99, and I think you'll agree that's pretty spectacular for a car as special as this. Thank you so much for watching this episode and the series so far. When I started this chop to the top journey, I wanted to prove that it is possible to trade your way up from even the most humble car, and I think so far that point is being proved, but this is just the beginning. Things are getting more exciting with every deal, and although we were slowed a bit by the COVID lockdown, we are back on course and ready for the next one. So what do you think I should buy next? Let me know in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and as always, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.